Hello, and welcome to another 40k report for the channel. This one's a game using ITC rules, the first one for this channel and in fact my first ever ITC match. My Custodes take on Imperial Fists. It's Scenario 5, Precious Cargo. First up, let's take a look at the rosters. Couple of quick asides, the Imperial Fists are using a Siegebreaker cohort. I can't say I'm familiar with how that works, but I believe it affects the detachment with the Centurions in it. Secondly, the Fists player is a great painter who has just started this army. The pink spray is the first layer which will eventually be worked up to a striking yellow. Anyway, let's take a look at our secondary objectives. By the way, if you're not familiar with how the scoring works in ITC, I'll briefly explain when we get to the first main scorecard at the end of the first battle round. Here are our secondary objectives. I've included details about each one in the video description, in case you're not familiar with them. I choose Gangbusters, Old School, and Headhunter. Imperial Fists choose Gangbusters, Marked for Death, and Recon. Here's another angle of deployment so you can see the Fists set up a bit better. 2 units of Eliminators are in these ruins, the Thunderfire Cannon is hiding here, and way over here are the 3rd unit of Eliminators and the Infiltrators. Right, let's get the frick on with the battle. Fists win the roll-off and go first. The only movement is both units of Centurions stomping forward with their mighty 4-inch move. I don't think Psychic is particularly eventful. In shooting, he targets one of the Caladiuses with the Devastator Centurions. He throws a couple of strats on them, I think, and the damage they put out is absolutely frickin' insane. Like, I kind of had a vague idea about it beforehand, but it far exceeded my expectations. All told, they put not 15, not 20, but 30 friggin' wounds onto the Caladius.
Disgusting!
What the actual fuck? He got full rerolls from his warlord, as he made him a chapter master, plus he was rerolling once to wound with the Eye of Hypnoth, and then there's all the rest of the Fist's goodness, such as +1 damage, and doing mortal wounds on 6s. What's more, he manages to focus down a bike unit with his Eliminators and possibly help from a couple of the Assault Centurions. I didn't realize, until I looked them up just now, that Eliminators only have a paltry 36-inch range, and therefore I could have probably stayed out of range of most of them turn 1. Fuck's sake. My turn 1. I backed the Caladius up so that it's out of range of the Centurions.
Correct, at last.
My Warlord and Custodian Guard head over here to put pressure on the objective. 1 unit of Sag Guard steps forward out of the ruins to get in range of his Devastator Centurions. Up in the top left corner, I send my remaining bikes, and 2nd unit of Sag Guard, to try and clear out this building and grab the objective. If I'd sent the bikes into the Centurions it would have been a pretty long charge, so I go for the safer option, hoping to muller the sense in shooting instead. Well, in shooting the Caladius and the 1st unit of Sag Guard take aim at the Centurions, and manage to kill 3. He put transhuman physiology on them so I can only wound on 4+, which definitely saved at least one of them. On top of that, they had a 4+ save even against my Caladius's -3, so I was relieved to at least kill half the unit. The Vindicator can't see any characters, as they're all hidden out of sight. He targets the Sense, but whiffs as usual.
Yeah.
Over here, both the bikes and Sag Guard make their charges. Unfortunately only one bike can fit on the 2nd floor. The end result is that the lower unit of Infiltrators is wiped out, and the one on the 2nd floor survives with 1 guy remaining. This means I now claim this objective.
That land has been had. Nothing you can do about it. It's gone. It's had.
If you would just take this lead.
So here's the scorecard at the end of battle round 1. Fists are in the lead 7 points to 5. We both get a point for kill 1 and hold 1, but Fists get kill more. We both get 2 points from Gangbusters, but he gets 2 from Marked for Death, whereas I only get 1 for Old School, for getting first strike. So, the basic principle is that you get a point for holding at least one objective, and a point for killing at least one enemy unit. If you hold more objectives than the enemy, you get a point, and likewise if you kill more units than the enemy. There's a bonus point up for grabs if you hold the enemy's home objective, which is the one in our own corners. On top of this, you can score up to 4 points throughout the game for each of your secondaries. If you want more info on our secondaries, I've pasted this into the video description. Fists turn 2. Movement's simple, the infiltrators in this building fall back. Oh, I guess 2 survived last turn, not 1. Over the other side of the board some of his intercessors start to come out of the building, his assault centurions push up some more, and he exposes 2 characters, his chaplain and his warlord, as this means he can try and push for recon next turn. I think the chaplain gives the centurions +1 to hit. They then unload and delete the 3 sag guard that were here. This is due in no small part to the fact that he has advanced to the tactical doctrine, giving all his bolt weapons +1 AP, which makes even hurricane bolters an absolute nightmare for Custodes. As he's exposed his characters, he realizes he really needs to take out the Vindicator, so he targets it with some of his own snipers. And he just about manages to kill it.
I don't believe it.
Piss on that. In other shooting, he manages to kill the last 3 jetbikes that had assaulted the ruins in the top left, and also kills 2 of the custodian guard which were near my warlord, leaving just 1 left. I don't have decent pictures of these events, so here is a gnarly centurion. Anyway, he gets hold 1 and kill 1, and we'll see the full scorecard at the end of the battle round from now on. My turn 2. The Caladius hangs back still, and Trajan obviously wants to stay with it to buff it. The Vexilla just shuffles around near them and looks bored. In the top left, the Sag Guard position themselves to shoot the Centurions with their nasty 3 damage weapon profiles. Why did I pronounce damage like that? Anyway, in the opposite corner of the board my warlord gets round here and prepares to wreak havoc amongst the impertinent marines. The last custodian guard also runs into the ruins, you can just about see him. So in shooting, I target the Devastator Centurions with the Caladius and Sag Guard, but only manage a grand total of 7 wounds, which just kills a single Centurion.
I hate them!
He popped the frickin' transhuman physiology strat again, and also gave them a 6-up feel no pain with another strat. Yowza. Right, so in combat, the Sag Guard charge these last 2 infiltrators and murderize them? And my warlord charges the eliminators on the 2nd level, killing all 3. So the score at the end of battle round 2 is 13-9 to Imperial Fists. We both held and killed. I'm actually holding 3 of the 4 objectives, so I get hold more, but Fists killed more units than me. In addition, I only get 1 more point from Gangbusters, whereas Fists max theirs out, and get another marked for death point too. Imperial Fists turn 3. His 2 remaining Devastator Centurions stay put, whilst the assault ones sort of splay out a bit. He sends a unit of 5 intercessors across towards my warlord, a ton of fire, and maybe even a spell or 2, gets directed into the Sag Guard, but I get lucky on my saves, and 1 guy just about survives. He then peppers my warlord with bolter fire, doing 4 wounds, before charging him with the intercessors. I kill an entire intercessor in Overwatch, they sneak another wound through in combat, leaving my warlord on 2, but then, get this, the shield captain doesn't kill a single marine with his return attacks.
Whoa, what? Guys, don't be like my friend here who didn't do anything.
My turn 3. Not a lot left on the board now to be honest. My Caladius simply backs up so that the assault centurions can't get in range of it next turn. Looks like it suffered a few wounds from shooting in a previous turn, but nothing too drastic. My warlord stays in combat, and the lone surviving Sag Guard stays outside of the ruins? Why in the name of ever-loving fuck doesn't he go and hide in the building and keep hold of that objective for next turn? No frickin' idea. So the Caladius takes aim once more at the goddamn Devastator Centurions? And finally finishes them off, thanks in no small part to the fact that he doesn't have enough CP left to splash out on defensive strats. My warlord then lays a beat down on the intercessors, and kills 3 more of them, leaving 1 left. Round 3 scorecard. Now it's getting interesting. I've almost managed to catch up. Fists are now in the lead 15 points to 14. This is because Fists didn't kill any units, whereas I did finish off the Centurions, netting me kill and kill more, and also maxing out Gangbusters. Plus, I'm holding more objectives. Note that he scores a point for Recon this turn. You might be wondering how, but it's because a character, possibly the chaplain, sprinted just into my quadrant, but I think they're hidden out of sight behind a ruin. Wow, I sounded so cheerful about him being behind a ruin. Queso Imperial Fists turn 4. The only movement is his Centurions playing out some more, and his surviving intercessors falling back from my warlord. Oh, and his librarian, who has been skulking around like the little phobos bastard that he is, makes his way over towards my last sag guard. And promptly smites him to death. In the opposite corner, he unloads a metric shit ton of AP-1 bolter fire into my warlord and slays him, with quite a bit of overkill.
I feel like somebody's just ripped out my insides.
Finally, the Centurions charge into my lone custodian guard in the ruin. They smash through the wall, and redecorate the building with his entrails. In my turn 4, all I have left now are the Caladius, Traj, and Vexilla. The Caladius moves round so it can see the Eliminators who are at the top of this ruin, and kills all of them. Trajan follows in tow to provide his re-rolls, so the Vexilla stays behind to hold the objective. End of round 4, and Fists start to pull away again. They're in the lead 20 points to 16. They score all their regular primary objectives, and get another recon point. I just get hold 1, and kill 1. Note that neither of us have come remotely close to scoring a bonus point, which you get for claiming the enemy's home objective. Imperial Fists turn 5. All of the stuff in the shaded area is now completely irrelevant. It can't get into range or line of sight of any of my guys before the end of the battle. He does move his Centurions towards me, but they have no more effect on the battle. So, we're looking at his librarian, who moves into the ruins up here, and his warlord, who comes out of hiding, as he really wants to try and max out his marked for death points by taking out the Caladius.
You got some big testicles to pull this off, bro.
He does a couple of wounds to the Caladius with spells, but the warlord doesn't manage to do anything. He has a pretty scary gun, I think it's like 3 damage or some shiz. My turn 5. Right, his warlord is exposed, finally, so I simply shuffle around to make sure the Centurions can't get me next turn, and take aim at him with the Caladius. I don't succeed in taking him out, though, and he survives with 3 wounds remaining. The score at the end of round 5 is 23-17 to Fists. They look pretty unassailable now. Neither of us killed anything, but he held more, and picks up his 3rd recon point, whereas I'm still stymied on my secondaries. Turn 6 is the final turn, there's no random game length in ITC. His turn goes the same as the last one, he tries to take out the Caladius, but only does a few wounds to it, leaving it with 6 left. His warlord is still exposed. In my turn 6, I simply try to take out his warlord again. The Vexilla even manages to get into a position where he can see the captain whilst still holding the objective. So, the Caladius takes aim at the captain,
Smile, you son of a...
and this time it manages to finish him off. Whoa, hold up, wait a second. That's actually a ton of frickin' points right there. It gives me kill and kill more, 2 points for old school, because of Slay the Warlord and Last Strike, and also a point for Headhunter. I also have hold 1. Meanwhile, Fists only get hold 1, hold more, and Recon. Could this be a last gasp victory? Well no, not quite. If you remember the score from last turn, I was quite far behind already. It does make the score slightly more respectable at the end though, with Imperial Fists winning with 26 points, to my 23. Looking at the score sheet, you can see that over the whole match we ended up equal on primary objectives, with 15 points each from those. The secondaries are where I got hammered, only scoring 1 point from Assassinate, while Fists nearly maxed all of theirs out. Really enjoyed my first ITC battle. Looking back at the pictures, it's so frickin' obvious that I should have crammed everything into my back corner. I didn't take full advantage of the pitiful range of most of his army. If I'd done this, I could have mullered whatever came close with 2 Caladiuses, instead of being hamstrung from the get-go. I was too focused on spreading out to try and claim objectives, whereas I think it would have been better to forego that, and focus on getting kill and kill more, and denying him his secondaries. As the game wore on, I started to understand the ebb and flow of the scoring, in ITC, a bit better. Still, fun match, and thanks for checking out my report.
Now, would you leave?